Hello, how you doing? My name is Mark Ashmore and welcome to the Future Artists channel. Welcome to our little podcast. We are going to be talking today about Spotify and why I think that it's going to double in value, its share value over the next year, which we're in 2021, so it's the 13th of January 2021, and I think over the next year into 2022 it's going to double in value. So what I'm going to do, because this information, again, if you saw my Tesla podcast that I did earlier, a lot of this information, it's all public knowledge, but it's never kind of accumulated into what or where Spotify is kind of heading, and it's quite exciting and it's also quite radical. So I want to go through a few of those points with you. So it'll take about 15 minutes. If you aren't familiar with who Future Artists are, we run this. You see around me here, the Immersive Arts Laboratory, which there'll be links in the comments below. So if you do like what I'm talking about, I'm going to do a video every single day about my passions, as you probably saw on the opening video on this page. I'm going to be talking about shares that I invest in. So I'm a investor in Spotify. I own shares, and this is just my own research. So don't take this as financial advice. I don't want to get into any sort of trouble. So these are just my opinions, my research, and I want to share it with you of why I think Spotify is going to double in value, and also why they keep talking about it like a music company, where it's actually slowly becoming a social network. It's slowly doing more video. It's building its subscriber base. It's got a huge podcast revenue coming. It's increasing its advertising revenue. It's taking on radio, and there are also interesting ways that it's doing social. So let's dive in. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard about it, but this is Anchor. And what Anchor is, it is a podcasting company, but it's kind of an all-in-one platform where you can create, distribute, and monetize your podcasts. And you can do it from your phone, or you can do it from a kind of setup like this. You know, a microphone. This is 70 quid from Amazon, and the software to record and edit and everything you need to do your podcast is all inside this platform, and it's free to use. So no more recording studios, no more music studios, which is probably why, if you saw the announcements a few weeks ago, you've got the Obamas. They're starting to do podcasts, so all they got to do is boot up the computer and just talk about what they're passionate about. And then, of course, you've got the royals. You've got Meghan and Harry are doing podcasts as well. So again, it's as easy as them just calling up their friends and laying down what they want to talk about. So Spotify purchased this company last year called Anchor for, I think it was 300 million, and you get all this user-generated content that's being created. And the great thing about Anchor is it pipes it straight to Spotify and then all the places where Spotify hang out. So you're going to be distributed on there. There's a really cool video. So if you go up here and click on features, there's some cool videos in here, which I'm just going to play. So I'm just going to switch my microphone off now.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Each week I examine an album by its riffs, rhythms, and rhymes. It's time to break it down, line by line.
This next song reminds me of the night we first met. I'm getting butterflies all over again.
Oh, that's so sweet and extremely corny.
But sweet, right?
Just play the song.
All right, beautiful people, I have one last song for you that will keep you smiling until the next episode. Y'all are so dope. Much love. Until next time.
1, 2, 3, I'm inspired by your energy. 4, 5, 6, feel your spirit on my fingertips.
Do you listen to podcasts? Ever want to make one? Well, you can, for free. Just download the Anchor app. Sending invites is super easy. Just send a link, then they type their name, and we're live. I can even have up to 4 friends join in, but we all don't have to be together. So, go start that podcast. Do you listen to...
So, as you can see there, not just your average podcast company, but its recording studio capabilities are allowing you to connect friends just using your phones and then record in different locations around the world to create your podcast, to create your content. This is only slowly being rolled out over the past sort of 7 months, and I've been listening to some great examples of user-generated podcasts with people that I follow on Twitter. So it just starts to become a very natural, if you've got something to say, if you're a bit of a commentator, using this technology, using Anchor to voice your opinions and get stuff out there, is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's so easy. And additionally, as you saw in that very first video, the ability to use the Spotify music that's all on the... in the app in Spotify means you can DJ. So essentially you become your own radio station, but you're not having to deal with PRS, Performing Rights Society, paying royalties and all that kind of stuff, because Spotify is going to do all that for you. So if you've got a good personality, if you've got a good choice in music, maybe your playlists are already getting, on Spotify, your playlists are already getting a lot of attraction, a lot of follows, then the next step for that is for you to kind of host this kind of podcast stroke radio station stroke DJ thing. The longer the content that you put onto Spotify, the more opportunity that they've got to monetize it. So Spotify have got to monetize it, but also what Spotify will do is share some of that revenue with the creators. So it's win-win for both sides. So what I think you're going to see, and this is why I think Spotify is going to double in value, is you're going to see more, more professional or very high professional amateur level commentators and DJs and kind of cultural commentators come over to the Anchor platform, see how easy it is to use and start broadcasting, and then amp that up with social media. And this is only going to grow. So the more content they get in Spotify, the more ads that they can surround that content with, and the longer that content is, the more ads that they can put into something. So there's only so much you can do with a 3-minute pop tune, but as soon as you're into a half hour or an hour podcast that's gripping and it's keeping the listener going, you can put kind of 3 to 4 adverts in there, and obviously there's a monetary value in there. And Spotify are starting to share that with certain creators if you're in certain programs. So I just wanted to introduce you to Anchor, and I mean, this is they purchased it for over 300 million, and I can already see the value in there, the user-generated creations there, and the simple use of these tools. I mean, even if you don't publish on Spotify, you could just use these tools to create great audio products. So yeah, wanted to show you that, and then we're going to move on now to, well, Spotify aren't known for their video, but they're starting to do video. So just going to find the right link for you. Here we go. So this is from July the 21st, 2020, and Spotify are rolling this out slowly. So what they're doing is they're experimenting and seeing if their users want it. So they're not just dumping it all on the platform, not all used with all users. But essentially what this article in, which is from the Spotify's own newsroom, so it's from the Well. If you've got a favorite podcast and you are listening to them, like, for example, it says the Book of Basketball, Fantasy Football is the Misfits podcast. Those creators can now serve video within the cast. So if you're commuting, for example, which not many of us are right now, which is why, to slowly roll this out. But if you're on a train or a bus or a plane or something like that, then you've got something to watch. And it means those creators who have got a successful following for podcasts, if they're only going to this more visual medium of video, they can start sharing, videos and things, which essentially makes them television broadcast, puts them in a kind of competition with YouTube. I mean, YouTube tried with YouTube Red to do subscriptions, and it didn't really take off. And this is Google; they can do anything. So what Spotify have got, they've already got subscribers. So what they're saying to the subscribers is, you're subscribing to us for music, but we're also bringing you video. We're also bringing you podcasts. We're also doing social networking, which is what I'm going to talk about in a minute, which is, you know how big social networking is. So they're getting into that game. So this is an add-on which takes them into broadcast. It takes them into what Quibi tried to do and failed at after 6 months, is putting video, mobile video, into a subscriber platform. So they reached out with music first, and they're now coming into video. So, that's an automatic double of revenue for advertising, because you can put ads around the audio and you can put ads around the video. Can't do that on YouTube. YouTube is just ads around the video. Not saying that Spotify is going to get as big as YouTube, because YouTube is free, but I just want to make a point of how powerful and important video is. Everybody's streaming right now, Netflix, Disney, that sort of thing. Suddenly you've got, they're calling them video podcasts, but that's essentially an episode of television, isn't it? So call it what you will, but for me, this is a biggie, and they're experimenting with it. So it's quite exciting, so you get to choose to listen to something or watch something, and it's all inside your subscription with Spotify. So yeah, that's the video. That's another case point. So that's number 2. I'm going to go to number 3 now. And we are going to talk about stories and social media. So those of you that use Instagram know that stories are a big part of Instagram. Stories, if you are unfamiliar, are basically a post that you post to a specific part of your profile, which shows up to more of your friends than it does in your news feeds. And I've done tests to check that out. And the post only lasts for 24 hours. The most successful story posts are highly visual. They've got pictures. You can add music. You can add text. You can put emojis and GIFs in there. And they're an engaging post to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, I'm up to, I'm feeling. Spotify bringing that onto their platform and allowing, as it says here, a small group of their artists to start experimenting with them. And in this particular post, basically talks about Spotify experimenting with it, the stories, during Christmas. So just here, they added stories to Christmas hits and their playlists. So it shows an experimentation where Spotify are seeing if they can socially engage their subscriber base. So if they've got video, if they've got audio, music, which they've got this vast library. We've not really talked about the music, but they've got all the music pretty much. And then they got podcasts, and then they're moving into social. It's another way that they can use news feeds, and we all create a social profile within Spotify. What it also means is that we can start to hang out inside Spotify, and if we've got similar music taste, for example, Billie Eilish, which is she got her fame through streaming from Bandcamp to Spotify, and then picked up by major record labels. She did most of it herself. 18 years old, Gen Zer, using this technology to become one of the great artists of our time. Her ability to use social within essentially her own record company and her own distribution gig setup in Spotify means that you can all hang around that campfire and listen to her sing, play, comment, and all that kind of stuff. So it's the ability to influence, really, through visual mediums. So stories and social media coming inside the Spotify subscription realm. I mean, to be honest, it's something I thought Netflix would do, like, by now, is like, you know, what if you've connected to all your friends, what are they all watching and what are they recommending, and then create influencers within the Netflix platform. But it looks like Spotify are on the way to doing that, because any recommendations, usually I'm picking them up off Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and then it's leading me to Spotify. Well, if you're an active user and you're on Spotify, you know, you can announce that there's a DJ gig happening and we can all go and listen to it and socialize within the app. So I think, anyway, I think I've exhausted my point that social media is big business and Spotify are slowly starting to experiment with this. And this article was from the 30th of November 2020, so it's now January the 13th, so little under 3 months ago. So this is brand new. So this is why, again, I'm saying that Spotify is going to double in value for its shares. I mean, where is it currently sat? So as I say, it's the 13th of January. The shares are currently trading at $362, up today by 4%. And you can see that that's the dip there, April the 9th. That's when like kind of lockdown happened globally. You know, America shut down for about 3 weeks, the UK for 3 months, various countries around the world for different times. And then we started to see, as people are locked down, that user base has gone up and up and up and up. And these people aren't going to cancel their subscriptions, really. There's going to be a very low drop rate of people dropping out. And in fact, look, you can see people are just recommending it here, and they're growing the markets. And interestingly enough as well, Spotify launched into 12 new markets in July the 14th here from this article. So around that time. And as you can see here, July, there you go. So the announcement is there. It was people are buying into it before the announcement. The announcement happens, and then we start to see that those new markets are taking their effect, and on the way up it goes. So it's already pretty much quadrupled in value since the start of lockdown, and I'm still going to say it's going to double again. So it's going to go from 363 all the way up to something like 850 or something like that per share during 2021. We're still in lockdown. Things haven't recovered globally. It's stop-start. But there are all these extra features that weren't there and have only just started to happen. So it makes it a much more valuable proposition. And Spotify only have to put the price up by a couple of dollars, and suddenly there's a huge, bigger income coming in, and which will add value to the app. So this is where they're currently available as of now. And what's interesting about this is that there's no India. And so you might know this, but India is the biggest market for Facebook. So a lot of people in India, when they buy their first phone, they ask the stall holder or the person from the shop if they could install the internet on the phone. And what mostly gets installed is Facebook, because they see Facebook as being the internet, as being a way to communicate with everyone. That's where they get their news from. The vast majority of Indians who are purchasing Android phones. So, I mean, there are articles on here, and I'll cover Facebook on another session. But yeah, there's no India on that list. Massive market. And there's no China on that list, which speaks for itself. And as the other article said, the 12 countries, for example, Russia, since July 2020, so 7 months ago, only got added to that list. So we're only 7 months into 12 other major markets. They're all going to build subscribers. They're going to get into the podcast. They're going to be Russian language podcasts. Global content all coming into Spotify, and then there's the social aspects as well. So there are markets missing there. They're still growing, and as you can see from the share price, it's just on the way up there. So and then lastly, I'm just looking at my little list here. Lastly, I want to talk about advertising, which if you're using like the freemium Spotify, there are ads there. There aren't any ads if you're paying a subscription. But what you can do is if you're using that long form content like on Anchor, on using all the different languages of podcasts and video, is you can place adverts in them. So an hour's content, maybe typically 4 to 6 adverts. That becomes very valuable real estate, and also the ability with stories and social media to advertise around the streaming products. But it's a huge market, and Kim Kardashian and Joe Rogan have signed multi-million-pound contracts with Spotify, so they're bringing all their fans and followers, new subscribers into the Spotify platform. And of course they're a music platform, so you expect at some point they'll start selling tickets when we can sell tickets again. So they'll start selling gig tickets and merchandise and everything else that packages to do with the music industry. So they're my 5 points of why I think Spotify is going to be this sort of major force to be reckoned with. Just throws you when you get a new notification on your screen there. People liking your posts. But yeah, it's more than just sort of a streaming site for music. It's morphing into a social platform with video functionality, the ability for users to create podcasts. The share price has only gone up in lockdown, so lockdown is its friend. And lockdown, I don't think it's going to end for another 1 to 2 years because they've got to vaccinate everybody, and we're already beginning to see early issues on that. So yeah, it's an exciting time. So as I said, I'm a Spotify shareholder. I haven't touched on the ethics of how much people are getting paid. Artists are getting paid within Spotify. I don't want to touch upon that because that's down to record companies who represent their clients. But if you're an independent and you're working in this space, you kind of know who you're getting involved with and things like that. So that's another bigger discussion for another time. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, I guess what we always say is, subscribe to this channel and like, and throw some comments down because I will be checking this and we can engage in a conversation. And I've also done some previous videos. You might want to check those out. I just did a Tesla one the other day, which is saying why I think it's going to be a $2,000 stock. Again, this is just my opinions and my advice, but it's not financial advice. These are just my research. So, and I'm not sponsored by anybody. These are just my own opinions. And if you're into future artist kind of stuff, check us out on Facebook. So yeah, thanks very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.